Welcome to episode 9 of our ComfyUI tutorial series. Today I want to talk about ControlNet, specifically the Union ControlNet for SDXL. This model helps the AI create images that match a specific composition. I will show you how to integrate it into your workflow and provide a few examples. I will add a link to this Hugging Face page in the description. Till now, we had separate models for specific uses like Pose or Canny, requiring multiple models. However, now we have a unified model that includes all these options in one. This model contains 12 controls. You can find more information and examples on the page. To download the model, go to the Files and Versions section. You'll see 2 models listed. The one we want is the new one called Ep09. Click the download button, then go to ComfyUI, navigate to the Models folder, look for ControlNet, and save the downloaded file in this folder. So we've downloaded this model, but what does it do? ControlNet is a guiding tool for stable diffusion that helps the AI create images according to a specific structure or style you want. And think of it like an artist who's skilled at painting, but sometimes needs a sketch to get started. A ControlNet acts like that initial sketch, guiding where and how to paint. Training a ControlNet model involves teaching it to match specific inputs with the desired images using a set of examples. ControlNet models are designed to work only with the particular AI model they were made for. For instance, a ControlNet for SD 1.5 works only with SD 1.5 models, while a ControlNet for SDXL is compatible only with SDXL. Back to ComfyUI, if you go to the manager and update your ComfyUI, you should get access to a new interface. Now, when you double-click on the canvas, you can see a preview of each node on the left, allowing you to check if it's the right node before adding it. In the settings, you can find more options. For example, you can enable or disable certain menus and adjust their position to the top or bottom. Currently, I have a bar at the bottom and a sidebar with a node library. Here, you can search for nodes, expand folders, and drag and drop nodes into the interface. You also have a node map where you can activate or deactivate nodes by clicking on the little eye icon. At the bottom, there's the manager and a queue button. From here, you can toggle the theme. The settings button allows you to change the theme color. Options include light, solarized, arc, obsidian, and others. I'll leave it on the default for now. If you go back to settings and scroll down, you can revert to the original interface by disabling the new menu option. Now back to ControlNet. Sorry for the delay. I just thought I should share this. To work with the ControlNet model, we need some custom nodes. Go to the manager, then Custom Nodes Manager, and search for the term Venture. Install the comfyui-art-venture node, which includes a ControlNet preprocessor needed for our workflow. Next, search for Preprocessors and install the ControlNet auxiliary preprocessors node to get access to additional preprocessors. Finally, search for Comfyroll and install Comfyroll Studio to stack multiple ControlNet models. After installation, click on Restart. It may take a while to install everything, but once it's done, you'll be back to ComfyUI. Let's start simple and explain step by step. Use the Clear button to get an empty canvas. Add your first node, called ControlNet Preprocessor from Art-Venture. You can see the preview of this node on the left. This node has an input and output for an image. So connect a load image node on the left and either a preview or save image node on the right. If you run it and nothing happens, it's because the preprocessor is set to none. By the way, if you're wondering how I have the runtime displayed on top of the node, it's due to a previous node I installed in another episode. If I go to the Manager and Custom Nodes Manager and sort for installed nodes, you can see one called ComfyUI Easy Use. In the preprocessor settings, you can choose from a list of options. Let's go with Canny. Running it will give you a Canny map. What does this preprocessor do? Before the image goes through the AI model, it's analyzed by the preprocessor. It acts like a filter or scanner that extracts certain features from the image, such as edges, outlines, or depth. It simplifies the input image into something the AI can easily understand. Think of the preprocessor as creating a blueprint. If you're building a house, you don't start by randomly placing bricks. You first make a blueprint that shows where everything will go. The preprocessor creates this blueprint for the AI. From here, you can change the type of model you're using. I will choose the SDXL version, even though I haven't added the SDXL workflow yet, just so you can get familiar with the settings. For resolution, you can choose either 512 or 1024. Running it at a higher resolution provides more pixels and better detail. You can go higher if you need to capture fine details, but there is a limit. Going too high will result in an error. If you upload another image, like this one of a woman, you'll see that the choice of preprocessor can affect the level of detail captured. Different preprocessors pick up different details, so you may need to experiment depending on your needs. You can also adjust the resolution to see if it captures more detail in the map. Switching to something like depth will produce a completely different map. You can use multiple preprocessors on the same image. For example, if you duplicate the nodes, you can connect them to get both a depth and Canny map for an image with a building. Now let me quickly explain some of the preprocessors I use most often. Canny detects edges in an image. Think of it like tracing the outline of an object with a pencil. It highlights the major lines and borders. It's useful for generating images where the structure of objects is important, such as detailed line art or architectural designs. Depth understands the 3D structure of an image. Imagine looking at a photo and recognizing what is closer to you and what is farther away. It helps create images with a sense of depth, making it useful for realistic scenes where perspective matters. MLSD detects straight lines in an image, such as those in architectural photos. It's like using a ruler to draw straight lines on a sketch, highlighting the structure of buildings or other geometric forms. It's great for architectural designs, cityscapes, or any scene where straight lines are prominent. Normal map analyzes the surface normals, which are vectors indicating the direction surfaces are facing. And think of it as understanding the texture of a surface, such as whether it's bumpy, flat, or curved. It's useful for generating detailed textures or enhancing the realism of 3D-like images. OpenPose detects human poses by identifying key points on the body, like joints. Imagine drawing a stick figure to show how a person is standing or moving. It's ideal for images where the position and the movement of people are important, such as in action shots or character designs. Scribble allows users to draw simple sketches or scribbles that ControlNet interprets as the structure for the final image. It's like creating a rough draft and having an artist turn it into a polished piece of art. It's great for quickly sketching out a concept and having the AI fill in the details. Segmentation breaks down an image into different regions or segments based on content, like sky, ground, or objects. Imagine coloring different areas of a picture with various colors to separate each element. It's useful for scenes where different parts of the image need to be treated separately, such as in complex environments or when creating layered compositions. For some of the preprocessors, I encountered an error, but updating ComfyUI after editing this video resolved it. The issue was related to downloading a file. Always check the command window for information about what went wrong, as it can provide details about the error that you can search for online. Let's integrate it into a workflow. Load an SDXL basic text to image workflow, similar to what we did in episode 3. As you can see, now uses the Juggernaut X SDXL model. It processes the prompts along with the empty latent image, then goes to K-sampler and is finally decoded to produce the final image. Make some space between the prompts and the K-sampler. By the way, in the new version, if you hover over nodes and fields, you'll get a brief description of what each one does. Let's integrate it into the workflow. To make it easier to understand, think of it like this. We want to apply the ControlNet to this workflow. First, search for the node called Apply ControlNet. This comes with ComfyUI, so position it here. Now you'll see that the conditioning is connected directly to the positive. We need to make a detour and connect it to Apply ControlNet instead. Connect the conditioning to conditioning and then conditioning to positive. This node also needs a ControlNet and an image. drag a link from the ControlNet and select Load ControlNet Model, which comes with Comfy UI. In this node, you can see the ControlNet Union Pro Max model that we downloaded at the beginning of the video. If you have more ControlNet models, they should appear in this drop-down menu. For the image input, we need a specific type of image that the AI can understand. So add the node we use to test different preprocessors, called ControlNet Preprocessor from art-venture. This node will help prepare the image in a way that ControlNet can work with effectively. I will select a preprocessor from the list, for example, Canny. Then, for the SD version, I'll choose SDXL since we're using an SDXL model and ControlNet. For the value, I'll go with 1024. Move the node here underneath, and then connect the image output to the image input on the Apply ControlNet node. Now, select a load image node because we need an image for the preprocessor to work. Connect the output of the load image node to the image input of the ControlNet preprocessor. Let's change the example image to a warrior image. Now, the positive prompt goes to Apply ControlNet along with the ControlNet model. The image converted by the preprocessor into an image map that the AI can understand also goes to Apply ControlNet. All these then go to the K-sampler. Now, I'd like to add a preview node to this node to see the resulting image and check if it captures the details I want. And that's the complete workflow. Let's test it. If the result isn't what you expected, it might be because the prompt didn't accurately describe the image. For instance, if you add a prompt like a robot holding a baseball bat, you can see that using Canny keeps most of the lines and features of the warrior. In this case, one option is to try a different preprocessor. For instance, OpenPose could be a good alternative, but I'll show you that later. For now, let's try using depth instead. Now it's looking better, but the map is capturing the handle of the sword, so it will be difficult to get a baseball bat if it's constrained by ControlNet to look like a sword. You can either switch to OpenPose or adjust your prompt to describe a robot holding a sword or something with a similar shape. Now you get this awesome image. We started with a warrior man and ended up with a warrior robot. By the way, if I had used OpenPose with this prompt, I would have gotten this image. Here's how I approach it. First, I think about what I want to create and craft a prompt for it. In this case, I wanted a robot with a baseball bat. Next, I search for an image that matches the pose I have in mind, and I found a free image online of a baseball player. Then, I experiment with different preprocessors. In this scenario, I didn't want all the lines and details that Canny would provide, and OpenPose wouldn't capture the bat effectively. Since I needed the bat to be in the right position, depth was the best option. As you can see, the resulting image is quite cool. Back to the workflow. I'm replacing the warrior image with a picture of a house. I'll prompt for a futuristic building in winter. As you can see, the depth preprocessor captures the details I need, and the result is this nice image. It's similar to the building I have, but can be generated in any color, style, or season. You can even modify it to be something else, like a cake or anything with a similar shape. MLSD is also effective with architecture since it extracts the straight lines from the image. This is the result using MLSD. Here's how it looks with a normal map preprocessor. For this example, I changed the prompt to reflect an autumn season. Let's load an image of an anime girl. For the prompt, I want a cute cartoon bunny. I'll choose the Scribble preprocessor. As you can see, it captures almost all the details from the illustration. When you run it, you get a variation of that image. If I switch to Canny, I get a different type of variation because it interprets lines differently. But since I've prompted for a bunny, how can I get a bunny? In the Apply ControlNet node, there's a strength value. When it's set to 1, ControlNet strongly influences the results, making them closely aligned with the input image. If you reduce the strength value, the variation becomes less influenced by the original image. At a strength value of 0.3, the bunny starts to take shape. And at 0.2, we begin to see our bunny more clearly. So even if you can't find the exact image for your ControlNet, you can still achieve your desired result by adjusting the strength value. Let's upload a different image, like a portrait of a woman. I'll prompt for a woman with blonde hair in the winter wearing a red blouse. As you can see, using Canny didn't capture all the details in the face because there wasn't enough contrast between the shapes to accurately capture them. This shows that the quality of the image is important. The clearer and more contrasting the elements in the image, the more details the preprocessor can extract. The result is quite nice. While the face is different, the overall composition remains the same. Now, let me show you how to combine or stack multiple ControlNet models. Search for a node by typing CR-stack, where CR stands for Comfyroll, the name of the custom node. Select the CR multi-ControlNet stack. Now connect the first preprocessor image output to the image1 input of the ControlNet stack node. Since the previous apply ControlNet node only works with one ControlNet model, we need to delete that node. Next, search for nodes using CR and look for CR apply multi-ControlNet. Add this node to the canvas. Now we connect ControlNet stack to ControlNet stack, move it up where the other node was, connect conditioning to positive and conditioning to negative. So this node also uses negative compared to the previous one. Then connect base positive to positive and base negative to negative. We have a switch here that is turned off if you don't need ControlNet, but since I want to use it in this case, I'll turn it on. Delete the load ControlNet model node since it's not needed anymore. The stack node already handles it. I forgot to remove it. So we have the first ControlNet with the Canny preprocessor. We can add another one manually, but you can also copy and paste the first ControlNet node. The second ControlNet uses the same image but is set to depth, allowing us to extract more information and details. Connect it to the second image input in the stack. From the portrait image processed with Canny, get a preview, which will be the first image in the stack. Then process the same portrait with depth, add an extra preview to see how it looks, and connect it to the second image in the stack. Now, let's review the options on the stack node. Right now, the first switch is off, so I will turn it on. Select the ControlNet model from the list, specifically the Pro Max model we downloaded. Below, you have the strength setting. You can adjust the strength, start or end at different steps, allowing ControlNet to apply later in the process and not be so strict. If I run this workflow now, it only uses the first ControlNet from the list for the generation. To include the second image, you need to turn on switch 2 and select the model for it. After doing this, running the workflow will apply both ControlNet models, Canny and depth, so the result will be more similar to your input image. You can adjust the strength to get more freedom and variety in the results. Let's load another image, the one with the building. I will change the prompt to an apocalyptic building. Both Canny and depth will be set to full strength. And this is the cool result I got. It has both depth and details. I really like the control that ControlNet offers. I saved the workflows for both the single and multi-stacked ControlNet, so you can download them from my Discord. They will be labeled with Ep09 in the name. I corrected them after reviewing the edits. Here's how the save workflow looks. I changed the color to make it clearer. Select a preprocessor from the list, and when you run it, you'll see a preview of the preprocessor before getting the final results. From load checkpoint, make sure you select an SDXL model, as the ControlNet union we downloaded only works with SDXL. Then add both a positive and a negative prompt. In the Apply Control section, you can adjust the strength. For the sampler, ensure you use the recommended settings for your SDXL model. You can also adjust the width and height here. Next, load the ControlNet model and upload an image by clicking the Choose File to Upload button. In this case, I have a bunny. Choose the preprocessor, the SDXL model, and the resolution. After that, you can run it and enjoy the control. If you choose a different aspect ratio than the image you uploaded for ControlNet, you'll get a cropped version. You might see it more clearly if I switch to a wider image. So how can you avoid cropping? For example, I have this wide image of an alien. I can try to estimate it by setting a larger width and height with values around 1024 pixels. The result is close, but not perfect. You can adjust these values until you get it right. There might be a node that does this automatically, but for now I use Photoshop. I open the image, adjust the width in the image size menu, and Photoshop automatically gives me the height. Then I enter these values into Comfy UI for width and height, which should give me the exact ratio. The result is this beautiful alien rabbit creature. Let's load the second workflow, the one with stacked ControlNet. I've added some notes here. You can turn the switches on or off. You can delete the note to make the workflow clear. You can also upload an image for ControlNet and choose from different preprocessors. In this example, I have only 2 preprocessors activated while the third one is turned off. If I copy those 2 nodes, I can create another connection from the uploaded image and choose a different preprocessor like Scribble. Then I connect that to image 3. But it's very important to turn on the third one. I forgot to switch it on, so it didn't pick up the third preprocessor. I'm too tired now, so I'll finish the video soon, but you get the idea. And if you need more than 3, though I've never done that, you can duplicate the ControlNet stack, add another 3 images and preprocessors. I'll just add one to show you, then connect each one to image 1, image 2, and so on. Then I will remove the connection from the first stack and connect the 2 stacks together. I'll make sure it's set to the one I'm using. Next, I'll make the connection to apply multi-ControlNet. This is the result. If the result looks too overprocessed, you can try reducing the weight for certain preprocessors to make it less strict, and this is the result. That's all for today. Leave a like or a comment if you found something useful. See you on the Discord channel for more questions. Have a great day.